AI makes senior living sales and marketing much more streamlined. And what do I mean by that? So there are plenty of owners that can't afford sales reps, don't have business development, don't really have a branding, sales marketing infrastructure, don't have a CRM, right? If you're one of those, then you definitely can benefit from having AI, because AI is your infrastructure. It forces you to create infrastructure. What do I mean by that? You have to have a CRM. There's no point of having an AI if you don't have the CRM for it to know everything you're doing, where you're getting your clients from, how frequent you get your clients, how much they pay, any of that stuff. Because the point of you having the AI is to make it smarter, to train it on your business, on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, reverse engineer your goals. So if right now you're at a deficit of $500,000 because you have empty beds, attaching AI into your CRM, into your social media, such as your Facebook pixels, your Facebook, your Google business page, your LinkedIn even. If you're doing a lot of videos, your TikToks, all of that stuff is an ecosystem. And what that ecosystem does when it's paired with the AI is it lets the AI know who likes you, where they're located, the exact type of client that wants to move their mom and dad into your facility. But if you don't know who which is called an avatar, if you don't know down to the nitty gritty who your avatar is, how are you going to target them? Right? Instead, that looks like calling placement agencies or having to, do the marketing yourself. And a lot of senior care owners don't come from a sales and marketing background. They're not fluid in being able to generate business and operate their business and run their business and hire caregivers. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So if that sounds familiar and you're tired of just not having enough sales, not having enough leads, not having enough people to come in and convert, consider that you don't have, nothing is wrong with your business. There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't have the infrastructure needed to expand in that capacity. If you are let's say you're a multi-location operator, you have 5 locations across the state or 20 locations across the state, your AI should know the census of every single building. Your AI should know how many staff you have, how many sales reps you have, how close they are to meeting their goals daily, if they're logging in, if they're actually using their CRM that you paid all this money for to build your business. It should be able to help you identify areas of weakness within your sales team. What do I mean by that? When I was a sales rep and a sales manager way back in the day, my sales team could have used an AI. Right? And I tell this story all the time, but there was once upon a time when I was managing a team. I mean, we were on fire too. We worked well together because I'm not a micromanager, and I'm like, listen, as long as you go do your best, go do what you love, I promise you the referrals will come. And it did, And then we had infrastructure change, and we were then directed to document our calls in pencil. That was the biggest mass exodus I have ever seen, because people were like, pencil? I could talk to my phone. I could text. There's so many other things I could do, but you want me to sit in my car in 100 degrees in Texas and write on pen and paper what I just did, just to go back home at the end of my day and document all of this, put it in the CRM, and still give my manager, which was me, my binder at the end of every week, so I can go through and make sure that what you wrote and what was in the no. You see where AI can come in for that? It's like, stop giving people busy work. If you want them to go out and make you millions of dollars, you want them to go out and be high performing, you want everyone to bring in 20 admissions a month. And this could be for senior living, home health, hospice, any of those senior entities that require 20 admissions a month. You guys know what I'm talking about. AI will be much more impactful to, just be able to talk to it and say, hey, just left Dr. Khan's office, left Dr. Singh, left Memorial Hermann, left networking event in Texas Medical Center. This is what happened. Like, they're able to at least do that and drive, because we do it anyway, whatever. But do that and drive versus sitting there stagnant, feeling like they're wasting time. Because sales reps, like, we have anxiety. We when we wake up and we got things to do, we're like, all right, boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna get this done so I can be done. So if you're an operator and you are making people do things the old-fashioned way, when we have all of this technology, you are risking higher turnover, because as more companies adopt AI, meaning I'm allowing you to come work for me and I'm going to make your life easier by giving you this AI. So instead of all this busy work and boggling you down, this is how you document your calls, or even still put them in a CRM, which is perfectly fine. It's way better than pen and paper, and it's so much better than Excel. But I'm going to give you the freedom and flexibility to have all the tools that you need in order for you to go out and best do what you need to do. You will lose staff to that next company who's just offering them an easier way to do their job for the same pay, if not more. So if I were you, definitely adopt AI for that. Let's see. If I had an HR problem, and I talked about this before in one of my other videos, if you have an HR problem, you most certainly want to get AI, because like I said, I don't care if it's home health, hospice, nursing home, HR is messy, especially if it works in the exact same office where the HR complaints come from. I can't, like, even still to this day, I still think HR should be like if the bigger the company, HR should be a remote job, like where you don't see anybody, you don't know anybody, you don't develop relationships with anybody, because HR is biased. HR could be best friends with the person who you're trying to complain on because they're disturbing your peace. But imagine now having an AI that you could talk to, unbiased, right? Here's everyone's different perspective, because there's no right or wrong. It's just different perspectives about the same thing. And AI will be a better institution, should we call it, that can decipher those different perspectives and come to a common ground without bias. In addition to the fact that at this point, there are plenty of HR bots out there that can do HR's job. That's one of the jobs that will be replaced sooner than later. Anything that has a lot to do with language, documents, being in office, data entry, those are the ones that should maybe kind of adapt to learn AI, so they're not replaced, but they are able to get paid more money by replacing themselves. What do I mean by that? If you've been doing HR for 20 years, like I've been doing senior living, working with seniors exclusively for 20 years, I can replace myself, right? I can replace myself and then license my AI to a business that wants 20 years worth of experience wrapped up in an AI that costs a fraction of the cost. So the same way, if you are human resources and you've been doing the same thing for 20 years, you know how to train your AI. You're not replaceable. You're now an asset. So it's all shifting the perspective and mindset. You're like, don't worry about getting replaced. You're only replaced if you're not proactive in your replacement, if that makes sense. So that's my little AI talk for today. I hope that this has helped someone, especially if you are considering AI in your infrastructure, especially if you are having a problem with sales and marketing.